Hi, I am Diane Vitor and I will discuss about the CMC number 77 2016 or the Customs Memorandum Circular number 77 2016. Customs Memorandum Circular number 77 2016 is subject to DOF, DOJ, DOTC, DTI, Joint Department Administrative Order JDAO No. 001/2016 implementing rules and regulations of Republic Act No. 10/668. Attached is a copy of Joint Department Administrative Order No. 001/2016 entitled Implementing Rules and Regulations of Republic Act No. 10/668, otherwise known as an act allowing foreign vessels to transport and co-load foreign cargoes for domestic transshipment and for other purposes. This memorandum or the circular or the custom Memorandum Circular number 77 2016 is made on May 24, 2016 and approved on May 31, 2016, signed by Mr. Alberto D. Lina, the Commissioner. The next that I will be tackled is all about the Joint Department Administrative Order No. 001/2016 or the Implementing Rules and Regulations of Republic Act No. 10/668, otherwise known as an act allowing foreign vessels to transport and co-load foreign cargoes for domestic transshipment and for other purposes. Pursuant to Section 10 of Republic Act or RA 10/668, the following rules are hereby promulgated. Section 1 is the title. This rule shall be referred to as the Implementing Rules and Regulations of Republic Act or RA number 10/668. Section 2 is the objectives. It is the policy of the state to assist importers and exporters in enhancing their competitiveness in light of intensifying international trade and to lower the cost of shipping export cargoes from Philippine ports to international ports and import cargoes from international ports for the benefit of the consumers. The Section 3 is the definition of terms. The following terms are defined as follows. A break bulk cargoes. A break bulk cargoes refers to those cargoes that are listed in a number of bills of lading lading, each consisting of different commodities. These include but shall not be limited to bag cargoes, crates, cylinders, cases, baskets, bales, rolls, drums, and such other like or similar types of packing, including vehicles, live animals, crated or uncrated fowls such as chicken, ducks, and and other loose cargoes. The next one is the bulk cargo. Refers to a liquid or dry goods shipped in a bulk, not packed or bundled in a separate units. Include commodities that are loose or in a mass and which are required to be pumped, shoveled, scooped, grabbed, or forked during loading or unloading. Co-loading. Co-loading refers to agreements between two or more international or domestic sea carriers whereby a sea carrier bound for a specified destination agrees to load, transport, and unload the container, van, or cargoes of another carrier bound for the same destination. Next one is the containerized cargo. Containerized cargo refers to the cargo stuffed inside a container van, with the external dimension and rating enumerated in Series 1 of ISO 668-1976, including its recent amendments, which are specifically designed to facilitate ready handling, particularly their transfer from one mode to transfer to another. The next one is the domestic cargo. Domestic cargo refers to goods, articles, commodities, or merchandise which is intended to be shipped from one Philippine port to another Philippine port, even if in the carriage of such cargo there may be an intervening foreign port. This includes foreign cargoes of which customs duties and taxes have been paid. The next one is the domestic movement. Domestic movement refers to cost-wise and inter-island trade or the transport of cargo from one Philippine port to another Philippine port. The next one is the Electronic Consolidated Cargo Manifest or ECCM. ECCM refers to all house bills of lading of shipments consigned to the ultimate consignees, the group or split from the master bills of landing of shipments whose consignees are nominal such as banks, forwarders, and consolidators. Next is the Electronic Inward Foreign Manifest or EIFM. EIFM refers to all master bills of lading of shipments consigned to ultimate and nominal consignees. Next is export cargo. Export cargo refers to goods, articles, commodities, or merchandise carried in foreign vessels and duly declared before the Bureau of Customs at the port of origin as cargoes for shipments to a port outside the jurisdictions of the Philippines. Next is the foreign cargo. Foreign cargo refers to import or export cargo carried by a foreign vessels. Foreign container van. Foreign container van refers to a container van whether empty or loaded with foreign cargo owned or leased by shipping companies. Next is the foreign port. Foreign port refers to any seaport outside the jurisdiction of the Philippines. Next is the foreign ship operator. Foreign ship operator refers to a citizen, partnership, or corporation, whether foreign or local, owning or chartering a foreign vessel. Next is the foreign vessel. Foreign vessel refers to a ship registered or documented in a flag registry other than that of the Philippines. Next is the import cargo. Import cargo refers to good articles, commodities, or merchandise of foreign origin whether for consumption, warehousing, or transshipment, carried in a foreign vessel which is intended to be cleared before the Bureau of Customs for deliver the port of discharge of goods within the jurisdiction of the Philippines. The next one is the Philippine port. Philippine port refers to any port within the Philippines, duly authorized by virtue of contract with the relevant government authority to handle domestic import or export cargoes. Next is the port authorities. Port authorities refers to entities engaged in the development and operation of seaports, including but not limited to Philippine Ports Authority, Cebu Port Authority, PHIVIDEC, Industrial Authority, Cagayan Special Economic Zone Authority, Aurora Special Economic Zone Authority, Bases Conversion and Development Authority, Freeport Area of Bataan, and Subic Bay Metropolitan Authority. Next is the Port of Discharge of Goods. For purposes of this order, refers to the Philippine port that is specified in the Electronic Inward Foreign Manifest or EIFM and Electronic Consolidated Cargo Manifest or ECCM as the final destination of the goods. Port of Entry of Vessel. Port of entry of vessel is refers to the first Philippine port of call of a foreign vessel. This shall be the ports designated as such by applicable laws or by the President in the exercise or his authority to open or close any port. The ports of entry shall be Manila, Cebu, Iloilo, Davao, Tacloban, Zamboanga, Cagayan de Oro, Surigao, Legazpi, Batangas, San Fernando, Subic, Manila International Container Port, Limay, Apari, including all their subports and other seaports which may be designated by the President. The next is the port of final destination of vessel. Port of final destination of vessel is refers to the last Philippine port of call of a foreign vessel to unload foreign cargo. It likewise refers to ports defined and enumerated in paragraph of this order. Next is the transshipment. Transshipment is refers to the transfer of cargo from one vessel or conveyance to another vessel for further transit to complete the voyage and carry the cargo to its final destination. And the last one is the transshipment ports of vessel. It is refers to a Philippine port where a foreign vessel is allowed to unload or load, import and export cargo before proceeding to its port of final destination, whether Philippine or foreign. The next is the Section 4, or the coverage. These rules shall apply exclusively to foreign vessels carrying foreign container vans or foreign cargoes, whether containerized, bulk, or break bulk under the following conditions. Any foreign vessel arriving from a foreign port shall be allowed to carry foreign cargo to its Philippine transshipment port to port of final destination after the vessel is cleared and concerned port. Next is any foreign vessel arriving from a foreign port shall be allowed to carry foreign cargo of another foreign vessel calling at the same port of entry or transshipment port to the Philippine port of discharge of such foreign cargo. Any foreign vessel departing from a Philippine port of origin through another Philippine port to its foreign port of final destination shall be allowed to carry foreign cargo intended for export, and any foreign vessel departing from a Philippine port of origin shall be allowed to carry foreign cargo of another foreign vessel through a transshipment port and transferred at such transshipment port to its foreign port of final destination. A foreign vessel shall likewise to be allowed to transport foreign empty containers for domestic transfer or for immediate exportation under the above conditions. Section 5, or the Commissioner of Customs. The Commissioner of Customs, upon such reasonable conditions as may be imposed, may do the following acts. First is authorize or the conveyance of foreign cargo brought from abroad by a foreign vessel. Allow a foreign vessel to take cargo intended for export at any Philippine port of entry and convey the same upon such foreign vessel to a foreign port and authorize the transshipment of such foreign cargo intended for import or export through another Philippine port of entry by another foreign vessel to the cargo's port of final destination, provided that such act shall not diminish or impair any existing and valid government contract covering the handling of import and export cargo, provided further that the Commissioner of Customs shall have the authority to impose penalties to foreign ship operators found to have violated any provision of this order and to take measures to address illegal activities including smuggling. The Commissioner of Customs is authorized to issue customs orders relevant to the implementation of this IRR, including, among others, the issue of overstaying cargoes after due consultation with other implementing agency to ensure effective implementation of the objectives of Republic Act 10-668. Section 6. Co-loading of import cargo. A import cargo as defined in this order shall be covered by the necessary import entry for consumption, warehousing, or transshipment in case of importation by accredited locators of Philippine Economic Zone Authority or the PEZA, and free ports, which shall be filled at the assessment office at the port of discharge whether first is carried by a foreign vessel and unloaded at the port of discharge after passing through another Philippine port, or second is carried and discharged by a foreign vessel at a port of entry or transshipment port before being loaded by any other foreign vessel and unloaded at the port of discharge. The next one is the purposes of the filing of the Electronic Inward Foreign Manifest or IFM, EIFM and Electronic Consolidated Cargo Manifest or ECCM of co-loaded foreign cargo. The port of final destination shall be the port of discharge in the EIFM or ECCM. The original foreign vessel carrying the cargo subject of co-loading will submit the EIFM or the ECCM to the Bureau of Customs at first port to call or port of entry using the Bill of Lading Nature Code for transshipment. Likewise, the foreign vessel that will co-load subject cargo at the transshipment port will submit the EIFM or ECCM, the port of final destination, using the Bill of Lading Nature Code for consumption. The arrastre operators shall likewise be furnished copies of the EIFM and ECCM. An arrastre operator at the port where the foreign cargo is unloading prior to its transport to the port of discharge shall maintain an inventory record of foreign cargo subject of co-loading and shall ensure that the same are properly monitored. Arrastre operators shall periodically submit the inventory record to the Bureau of Customs and the relevant port authority. Next is an arrastre operator shall provide adequate space in its yard for temporary storage for foreign cargoes subject to co-loading. Section 7 or co-loading of export cargo. Export cargo as defined in this order shall be covered by an export declaration and other necessary documents, which shall immediately be filed in the first port of co-loading. For immediate exportation by a foreign vessel, whether or not passing through another Philippine port of entry, or for domestic transfer and discharge by a foreign vessel to another Philippine port of entry before the same is loaded for export in another foreign vessel for delivery to the foreign port of destination. An arrestee operator at the port of loading where the export declaration is filed or the port of loading as a transshipment port shall maintain an inventory record of export cargo subject of co-loading and shall ensure that they are properly monitored. Arrestee operators shall periodically submit the inventory record to the Bureau of Customs and the relevant port authority. An arrestee operator shall provide adequate space in its yards for temporary storage of export cargo subject of co-loading. Next is the Section 8, or the co-loading of empty containers. The purpose of this order, an empty foreign container van going to or coming from any Philippine port and or going to or coming from a foreign port and being transshipped between two Philippine ports shall be allowed. Foreign vessel shall be allowed to load or co-load empty containers from any port in the Philippines to any port of entry for repositioning abroad or for use in the stuffing of Philippine exports. When loading import cargo from the port of entry or transshipment port to the port of final destination, and when loading export cargo from the port of origin in the Philippines to another Philippine port where the same shall be immediately exported or utilized for the stuffing of Philippine exports. The Bureau of Customs shall issue a special permit to load for domestic movement or SPL-DM with reference to the domestic leg in case the empty container is transferred from one Philippine port to another, and a special permit to load for immediate exportation or SPDIE in case the foreign empty container is loaded by a foreign vessel for immediate exportation. Section 9. Application of the Carriage of Goods by Sea Act. Carriage conducted in accordance with this order shall be governed by Commonwealth Act No. 65, otherwise known as the Carriage of Goods by Sea Act, with respect to the liability of the carrier for the loss of or damage to goods carried. Section 10. Carriage by foreign vessel not a public service, foreign vessel not a common carriers. Foreign vessels engaging in carriage conduct in accordance with this order shall not be considered common carriers as provided in Republic Act No. 386, otherwise known as the Civil Code of the Philippines. Neither shall such foreign vessel be considered as offering a public service and thus shall fall outside the coverage of Republic Act No. 9295, otherwise known as the Domestic Shipping Development Act of 2004. Next is the Section 11, or Prohibitions. Foreign ship operators shall submit their cargo manifest to the port authorities to ensure that no domestic cargoes are carried by the foreign ship. No foreign vessel shall be allowed to carry any domestic cargo or domestic container van, whether loaded or empty, even if such domestic container van may contain foreign cargo. Section 12. Authority of other agencies. The concerned national agencies, bureaus, and other government offices involved in co-loading, namely Department of Finance or DOF, Department of Transport and Communication or DOTC, Department of Trade and Industry or DTI, and Department of Justice or DOJ, shall continue to exercise their respective mandates and may issue rules and regulations in relation thereof, provided that it is exercised in accordance and consistent with the objectives set forth in Republic Act No. 10-668. Section 13, or Fine and Penalties. The Bureau of Customs, upon due notice, hearing and determination of the existence of any breach or violations of the provisions of this order or any rule and regulation issued pursuant thereto, shall impose a penalty or fine any erring foreign ship operator or its agent in accordance with applicable provisions of the Tariff and Customs Code of the Philippines, or any amendments thereof, and other related laws. Section 14, or Separability Clause. If any provision of this order is subsequently declared invalid or unconstitutional, other provisions hereof which are not affected thereby shall remain in full force and effect. Section 15, Repealing Clause. All orders, rules, and regulations and other issuance or parts thereof inconsistent with the provisions of this order are hereby repealed or modified accordingly. The last one is the Section 16, Effectivity. This order shall take effect 15 days after its publication in the official gazette or in a newspaper of general circulation, and the submission of a copy to UP Law Center Office of the National Administrative Registrar. The Joint Department Administrative Order Number 001/2016 was approved and signed by these following personnel: Adrian S. Cristobal Jr., Secretary of the Department of Trade and Industry; Cesar V. Purisima, the Secretary of the Department of Finance; Joseph Emilio A. Abaya, the Secretary of the Department of Transportation and Communication; and Emmanuel L. Caparas, the Secretary, Department of Justice. The next one that I will be discussing is about the CMO 001/2016, or the Customs Memorandum Order Number 001/2016. Subject: Operational Guidelines in the implementation of Republic Act 10-668, otherwise known as an act allowing foreign vessels to transport and co-load foreign cargoes for domestic transshipment and for other purposes. Pursuant to the Republic Act 10-668 and its implementing rules and regulations, the following rules are hereby promulgated. Objectives: to operationalize Section 6, 7, and 8 of Joint Department Administrative Order, or JDAO No. 001/2016. The next objective is to lower the cost of shipping export cargoes from Philippine ports of entry to international ports and import cargoes from international ports for the benefit of the consumer. The next is the definition of terms. For purposes of this order, the following terms are defined as follows. Co-loading refers to the agreement between two or more international sea carrier bound for a specified destination agrees to load, transport, and to unload the container van or cargo of another carrier bound for the same destination. Receipt vessel, or recipient vessel is refers to the foreign vessel that agrees to receive and carry. The EIFM submission shall be in accordance with existing regulations. It shall be submitted both in the transit port and to the final port of discharge, bearing the appropriate registry number of the carrying vessel. The transferor vessel shall submit the corresponding EIFM at the transit port using bill of leading Nature Code 24 for its cargoes intended for co-loading. The recipient vessel shall submit the corresponding EIFM for the co-loaded cargoes at the final port of discharge using Bill of Lading Nature Code 23. A.2 Permit for co-loading. The foreign ship operator or agent of the foreign recipient vessel shall request for a permit for co-loading of the Office of Deputy Collector for operations or equivalent office at the port concerned using the form attached by Annex B at least 12 hours before arrival of vessel. The permit for co-loading shall contain the following information as prescribed in the format annexed in this order: application date and time, estimated time of arrival or ETA of transferor vessel, and estimated time of arrival ETA of recipient vessel, details of transferor and recipient vessel such as but not limited to vessel operator or shipping line, vessel name, voyage name, and registry number, port of loading, port of discharge of goods, quantity and marks of the foreign cargoes agreed to co-load, bill of lading details, use attached notice of import cargoes for co-loading, original copy of the official receipt issued by the collection division of the concerned port as payment for administrative fee. The following documents shall be attached to the permit for co-loading: load list with the container numbers and intended vessel of the cargoes to be co-loaded for containerized cargoes, load or discharge port survey report for bulk or pre-bulk cargoes, notice of import cargoes for co-loading which shall contain the following information and shall be in the prescribed format annexed here, Annex C: vessel operator, shipping line, vessel name, voyage number, registry number, estimated date and time of arrival, last foreign or Philippine port of call as applicable, and the next Philippine port of call, quantity and marks of the foreign cargoes to be unloaded, and the details, example, the building number, consignee TIN and name, broker TIN and name, transit shed code, and the Office of the Deputy Collector for the operations or equivalent office at the transit port shall cause the manual discharge of the cargoes for co-loading pursuant to Section A.3 to this order or of this order. Approved permit for co-loading shall be sent via electronic mail and or fax by the Office of the Deputy Collector or equivalent office at the port of discharge to the Office of the Deputy Collector or equivalent office at the port of final destination immediately. Upon approval, the Bay Service Section or the foreign ship operator or agent of the transferor and recipient vessel and port terminal operator shall likewise be furnished a copy immediately. The permit for co-loading shall, as far as practicable, be acted upon the Office of the Deputy Collector for operations or port collector immediately upon filling thereof. 8.3 The manual discharge. The Office of the Deputy Collector for operations or equivalent office at the port of discharge shall follow the procedure of manual discharge under the Bureau's E2M system for cargo subject of co-loading. The registration number and date as shown in the E2M manual discharge interface shall be the corresponding control number and the date in the permit for co-loading. The online release system or OLRS instruction received by the port terminal operator from the Bureau shall be tagged as misrouted in their system so that gate pass need not to be issued by the port terminal operator for such cargoes. A.4 Arrival, discharge, unloading, and co-loaded cargoes. The transferor vessel shall submit the hard copies of the Inward Foreign Manifest or IFM of the goods intended to be co-loaded to the Customs Senior Boarding Officer upon arrival in copies as prescribed by current regulations. Likewise, it shall present the approved permit for co-loading and its attachments. The Customs Senior Boarding Officer shall proceed with the discharging formalities as prescribed by current regulations. The Port Terminal Operator shall place transit containers together for purposes of accessibility. The containers for co-loading shall not be included in the Port Terminal Operator's automated systems such as Terminal Appointment Booking System or TABS or tabs, gate pass, etc., since the containers are the temporary movement only. The foreign ship operator or agent of the foreign recipient vessel shall submit to the Bay Service Section or equivalent office of the port or subport concerned a permit for co-loading using a form attached as Annex B at least 3 hours prior to its departure. The port terminal operator shall ensure that only cargoes indicated in the approved permit for co-loading furnished to them will be loaded at the recipient vessel. The Office of the Deputy Collector for Operations or equivalent office at the port of discharge or loading shall send via electronic mail or fax the discharge and loading report of the co-loaded imported cargoes with 6 hours after departure of recipient vessel. The annexes in this order shall form part of the required documents of a vessel when arriving, discharging, offloading at a Philippine port of shall be submitted to the appropriate bureau office or officers as necessary. 8.5 or Notice of Discharge. When coming from Philippine port and proceeding to another Philippine port, the foreign ship operator or agent of a foreign vessel carrying foreign cargoes to its final port of discharge shall submit to the Bay Service Section or equivalent office at the transit port or subport concerned the notice of discharge to its next Philippine port to call prior to departure using form attached as Annex 2. 8.6 The clearance of foreign vessel to a Philippine port. The Piers and Inspection Division or equivalent office shall issue a clearance of foreign vessel to a Philippine port upon submission of the documentary requirements prescribed by current regulations together with the applicable annexes in this order. 8.7 The Office of the Deputy Collector for Operations at Final Port of Discharge. The Office of the Deputy Collector for Operations at the Final Port of Discharge shall inform the Office of the Deputy Collector for Operations at the transit port immediately upon arrival of recipient vessel or foreign vessel carrying to its foreign cargo to its final port of discharge. Export cargo shall covered by an export declaration at the concerned port of loading, whether or not passing through another Philippine port of entry or for domestic transfer and discharge by a foreign vessel to another Philippine port of entry before the same is loaded for export in another foreign vessel for deliver to the foreign port of destination. Empty containers. The purposes of this order, an empty foreign container van going to or coming from any Philippine port or going to or coming from a foreign port and being transshipped between two Philippine ports shall allowed, thus foreign vessel shall be allowed to load or co-load empty containers in the following instances. From any port in the Philippines to the Philippine port of entry or repositioning abroad or for use in the stuffing of Philippine export when loading import cargo from the port of entry or transshipment port to the port of the final destination and when loading export cargo from the port of origin in the Philippines to another Philippine port where the same shall be immediately exported or utilized for the stuffing of Philippine exports. The Bureau of Customs shall issue a special permit to load for domestic movement or SPLDM with reference to the domestic leg in case of empty container is transferred from one Philippine port to another, and a special permit to load for immediate exportation or SPLIE in case from foreign empty container is loaded by a foreign vessel for immediate exportation. Boat note. The requirement for boat notes is hereby dispensed with the purposes of co-loading covered by this order. Administrative fee and administrative fee amounting to 500 pesos shall be paid at the collection division of the concerned port. A copy of the original receipt shall be attached to the request of permit of co-loading submitted at the office of the Deputy Collector for Operations or equivalent office at the ports concerned. Next is the penalty. There shall be a penalty of 10,000 pesos for non-compliance of masters or agents of vessels with the requirements prescribed under this order. Reports the office of the Deputy Collector for Operations or equivalent office and port terminal operators and at the port concerned shall submit a monthly report of all co-loading transaction to Deputy Commissioner. Assessment and operations coordinating group through the Director Port Operations Service. All other import and export transactions not covered by this order shall be subject to existing applicable processes, rules, and regulations. If any provisions of this order are subsequently declared invalid or unconstitutional, other provisions hereof which are not affected thereby shall remain in full force and effect. All orders, rules, and regulations and other issuance of parts thereof inconsistent with the provisions of this order are hereby repealed or modified accordingly. Customs Memorandum Order or the CMO 16/2016 was signed by Alberto D. Linad, Commissioner, on June 10, 2016. And these are the forms of Bureau of Customs in Base Service Section. Notice to discharge. This is the forms of the notice of discharge. Is the permit for co-loading. And this is the notice of imported cargoes for co-loading, formats. And this was first endorsement, and it was signed by Juby C. Denorata, Office in Charge, Assessment and Operations Coordinating Group. That's all for today. Thank you for listening and God bless.